that are having their parties, our staff is there helping them out.
So it was mainly actually the staff from the city that, or did you have to hire new people for that? Did it open up jobs or not really as such?
It definitely opened up jobs. What we've seen is we've seen a significant increase in those recreation leaders and in that community center staff to be able to support those events. We need people to be able to go into the gym that's up on the 3rd floor and make sure that people are getting their needs met. We need to make sure that that those special events are staffed, you know, so that the community is able to enjoy those events.
Now you have a gym up there?
There is a gym. There is a workout room that's on the 3rd floor, and you're going to see everything from free weights to treadmills and elliptical machines, and it's regularly staffed, and it's always
I've seen it actually. Yes, it's absolutely beautiful.
Really?
I remember the very first days that it opened, I had a nice tour from Tom Strickfaden, actually, our cable TV supervisor, who took me there, and I was impressed by how beautiful, shiny, clean, and amazing equipment there is. So it's absolutely a great
it's all state of the art.
Yeah.
Dan, you're going to have to get some of Tom's staff over there, I think.
I think we will. Tom's staff, you know, they may be so busy with their sports casting and certainly events like we have tonight, where you know, they have very little time to be able to get out and enjoy those things.
And you are, as we were talking, you are one of the supporters of the cable TV television department here. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do oversee Tom and the staff. You know, Tom does a great job with his staff, so really I'm just in the periphery. You know, we talk a lot about budgets, but you know, I'm real supportive of the things that are going on here. Tom and I would love to see things like streaming on our website and allowing an increased audience, not just through channels 3 and 22, but also streaming for our council meetings or the Lawndale Living and some of the other special programming.
How soon do you think that might be possible for it to be on the web?
Well, we've been having discussions with our city council. We certainly know that the Cable Commission is extremely supportive, and we appreciate that from them. We'd like to get a couple other council members that would buy into that, and hopefully, you know, we can do that in the very near future.
Well, I kid because I love this staff here, Tom Strickfaden all the way down to me. And Anita's way up above me in the food chain.
Please, yeah.
But Tom has won 3 Star Awards, looking for an Emmy and another Star Award.
Well deserved.
And you can put any of these programs, especially the sports that we put together, on any channel.
Absolutely. You know, the things that Tom does, it's just amazing. You know, having been to the facilities, watched some of the productions, getting to know the staff, it's just, you know, the small budget that we have relative to some of the other organizations, it's amazing the amount, the type of work that we put out. It's a really testament to the employees we have and just their drive to do good things.
Now, what about tonight? Tonight is a huge night as far as the city of Lawndale. A big changeover. The huge shoes of Harold Hoffman need to be filled. How do you think it's going to turn out tonight?
You know, I really can't say one way or the other. I know it's going to be a real strong competition for mayor between Dan Reed and Robert Pullen Miles. You know, I know that there's a lot in the community that support both people. I know that staff is just really excited about the opportunity to welcome a new mayor, you know, get to work with that person, and that's what we get to do behind the scenes, is we get to work with that person and the city council as a whole. You know, we're going to be working with them to meet their needs and certainly meet the needs of the community.
And Harold Hoffman passed away on November 16th, doing what he loved to do. That's what we'd all want to do, right?
Absolutely.
Is go out doing what you love to do. What story can you tell us about Harold?
Yes, what do you remember that can be a...
Well, you know, he was he's an activist for the community. I mean, every time that he and I spoke, it was always something about the community, whether it was a street light that had been knocked down or a pothole that needed to be filled. He wanted to make sure that staff was on top of things. He wanted to make sure that we had the right people in place that were going to take care of those issues that needed to be done. And, you know, fortunately and appropriately, he held people accountable to that. And that was one thing that you can appreciate about him. He was always wanting to make sure somebody was accountable.
Thank you so much for your time, and we congratulate you for all your achievements.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
All right.
And I want to thank very much Dan Bartleson for taking time out, especially from his little boy Toby, who missed him very much because Daddy came home late because Daddy stayed behind to talk to us. And we appreciate that.
We saw a lovely photo of him looking at a newspaper, and I said he doesn't have to worry about getting a job in the future.
He's a journalist in the making, that's for sure.
That's right.
Had his nose right in that newspaper. I don't even know if newspapers are going to be around in another 18 years or 24 years when he's old enough to go to work. But do want to thank Dan again for coming on.
Absolutely, thank you.
You are watching City TV's live presentation of the Lawndale City municipal elections, where the big election will be for the mayoral seat left open by the passing of Harold Hoffman. So it's been almost 25 years, a quarter century has passed since we've had someone else besides Harold Hoffman sitting in that mayor chair in the center of the city council chambers.
I think he was a mayor for 23 years.
This is his 24th, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Now, let's talk about Dan Reed a little bit, who's running for the mayor. He says some of the important aspects that he would like to be focusing on is that he'd like to work closely with city council, commissions, and staff to continue providing quality services, activities, and financial responsibility. He also says public safety is very important to him, and that is why he's active in the Neighborhood Watch, and he is also a member of the Community Emergency Response Team. And as you know, he has been endorsed by Mayor Pro Tem Pat Kearney and City Council members Larry Rudolph and Jim Osborne as well. So that's quite interesting as well.
So the city leaders seem to lean towards Dan Reed. The county and the state leaders seem to be leaning towards Robert Pullen Miles. Well, we have Jennifer Murillo in Election Central, and you and I have been seeing, Anita, the ballots come rolling in, precinct after precinct.
It's getting really busy. I love hearing these sounds. What about you?
I do. So let's go right to Jennifer and see what's going on inside the beehive.
Yes, as you can hear, it's getting louder in here. More people are trickling in, and 3 precincts have come in. Officially, we have precincts 3 and 4. They're starting to count the ballots, and shortly, hopefully, we can get you the numbers of what they are. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Jennifer. As all of those ballots will be counted, inspected, and loaded up into the machine to be counted.
Absolutely. Okay, now do you want to take a look at some of our candidates for the city council members, or do we have an interview lined up?
Well, we'll get to the interview in just a moment, but Pat Kearney, the mayor pro tem who's taken over for Mayor Harold Hoffman, is running for his council seat again. Larry Rudolph as well running for his council seat, and Gary McDonald trying to upend one of the incumbents to try to get into the city council. Also, there's going to be a new city clerk in town.
Absolutely. Paula Hartwell, after having been in as a city clerk for 13 years, is stepping down, and it is her own choice to step down. And so 2 people, Bernadette Suarez and Marge Heineman. Now, Marge Heineman, as we mentioned, also tried to run for the position of city clerk in the last election, but she was defeated by Paula Hartwell. So it's interesting to see what this race is going to turn out.
That's right. And we will get the live election results, but you at home can also play along, as it were, as the live election results are online at www.lawndalecity.org. And go to the homepage. And we've been doing that on our devices here as well to try to keep track of things. And Pam is really, she's the queen bee inside of that beehive, isn't she?
She is. She always is. And the office of city clerk actually is very, very pivotal when it comes to city elections, because they actually hire a lot of people at the polling places. So the city clerk and the assistant to the city clerk, who's Pam Jamario, are always extremely busy on election nights.
We have an interview coming up right now, Anita, and you had the privilege to talk to Nasser, so why don't you introduce this interview?
Actually, I personally did not speak to Nasser, but I didn't have that privilege, but we do have an interview. Tom Strickfaden, actually, our cable community television supervisor, was the person who had the opportunity to speak to Nasser Abbassadeh, who is a public works director. We'll go ahead and take a look.
We recently completed several large projects. I'll touch on some of those that, like I said, that were just completed recently. The intersection of 154th and Condon, that was an